Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk, guys. That was stressful, guys. Guys, that was too stressful. I mean, we have 3 games to go, but I don't know, man. I don't know if we can if our heart can take this because Lecce made us sweat, guys, in the second half. I don't know how we managed to come away with those 3 points. Well, I know how. It's because Lecce are a poor team, and thankfully we don't have to face anybody super good in the next 3 games because I feel like it's gonna be a little bit like this, guys. It's gonna be like this where you hope to unlock the game early and then the second half is just going to be holding on, guys. And thank God we've got this good defense. Shout out to Oliveira and Di Lorenzo that stepped up today in defense, playing at three at the back. Um, but guys, this this is somehow it's somehow coming closer. And I want to keep myself a little bit calm, especially seeing that second half. But guys, it's it's almost it's almost here, guys. 3 games, 3 games, 7 points, and maybe less if Inter drop points and Inter now have to start playing. And yeah, man, RIP, RIP Inter, maybe, maybe, but it's very close, guys. It's very, very, very close to almost becoming a reality. This crazy, crazy, crazy thing that Antonio Conte is doing with this team, guys. Because look, the defense that we had today was the same one as or same people that were there last year. Oliveira, Di Lorenzo, Rachmani. We never played, with three at the back last year, but those guys were there. Meret, same. Lobotka and Gisa were there last year. Politano there last year. I mean, guys, like 8 out of the 11 that started today. Maybe only, yeah, 8 out of the 11. Spinazzola, Lukaku, and McTominay are new. Then if you look at the bench, there's some new faces. Gilmore, super helpful today, especially with Lobotka getting injured. But guys, this is a team that last year finished 10th. That is 7 points away from winning the title, guys. I don't think anybody could have predicted this. And yeah, where are all the Raspadori haters? I'm taking receipts. Look, I don't think anybody ever hated Raspadori. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Anthony. I don't think anybody like hated Raspadori because he's always um, been a big game player, and he was huge in the Scudetto coming off the bench in that season. What we didn't know was what his best position was, no, and I think it's clear that he's a second striker in a 3-5-2. I think we learned that this year. We learned what his best position is, and he is coming in clutch, guys, with the important goals. It's his what fifth goal of the year, and all 5 have been absolutely super super important. And that's the thing is that players that have stepped up this season, Raspadori, McTominay, all these guys, they've all our key players, they've scored goals when it really mattered, and that's because we tend to win most games with only one goal between us and the opposition, so they tend to be goals that really matter. Should Raspadori play more? No, this user called Napoli thinks so. I think it I think it makes sense at this point, with Neres being injured and everything. I think it makes sense to put out a formation where Raspadori is in the team because he's a big game player and the next three games are all big and he doesn't feel the pressure. At the same time, this three-man defense, I just don't think it makes us play the best football. I think we are much better at a 4-3-3. We are solid playing with three at the back, but we struggle, I think, with the midfielders. McTominay's position is a lot different, and when you remove that attacking threat of McTominay, you have to then rely on only Raspadori and Lukaku. Today, Raspadori with a free kick, yeah, but apart from that, we had one, two other chances. So yeah, very difficult win, as Fabrizio is saying, guys. Very, very difficult. And thankfully, Raspadori was there. Ballon d'Or for Raspadori. I don't know, man. I mean, there's this little guy called Lamine Yamal who uh, who I think is gonna take it, but Raspadori second for sure. No, guys. But speaking of Ballon d'Or, I think McTominay has a good chance of being top 15. Top 15. I think it would make sense for what he's done this season. I think he should be a top 15 player. I just cannot name 14 other players that have been better than him this season, to be honest, or this impactful. So I think we have a good chance there to get at least someone somewhere up in those high rankings. Tough win, but a win nonetheless. That's the most important thing. Justin says, let's go. We suffered and we're able to see it through. At this point, who cares how we do it as long as we keep pushing to get the job done at this point. One hand on it already. Forza Napoli. Sempre. I agree. I agree, and that's why I didn't even bother doing a tactical analysis today, showing you guys, because at this point, who cares? Who cares, guys? We are 3 games away from the title. The only thing that matters now is the 3 points. Okay? It's the only thing. It does not matter who's making the overlapping runs and who's doing what. It just is not a topic of conversation at this point in the season. At this point in the season, we just have to think about and talk about how do we get 7 points in the next 3 games. Easier said than done. And I think we have to approach the next few games super offensive minded. Like we have to start the next games all guns blazing, trying to get those 2, 3 goals at the start in the first half because it's the only way that I think we can then try to safely manage the second half. Because if we keep on doing this where we only take 1 goal or even worse it's 0-0, I don't know if we can withstand 3 more second halves like this. So we have to take the risk and play ultra attacking. I think take a lot of chances, press super high in the first half before the nerves start setting in, and hopefully you take a 2 or 3 goal lead into the second half. Maybe it's risky, right? Maybe you concede a little bit, but I think the alternative of trying to hold on in the second half, I just don't know if that is going to work in the next 3 games. Um, Other people could say, well, if we were able to do it today, then why not the next few games? This was one of the trickiest of the 4 that we have to face because Lecce, so many reasons, guys. It's a week after their physio died, and so they, probably wanted to get the 3 points and a win for him even more. Then there's the fact that, it's two southern Italian teams. That doesn't happen very often. In fact, this is the only fixture of the entire league where it's two southern Italian teams facing each other this season. No, I mean everyone else is in the north. So there's, I wouldn't say a derby atmosphere, but for sure there is a little bit of tension. Then add to the fact that Lecce are trying to avoid relegation. Add to the fact that today was a super hot day because we had the water breaks and everything. It was tough. It was tough. But Napoli Nation TV, you know, with the cheeky emojis over there. Tough match, 3 points. Going to watch the Inter game next and see if any slip ups. Guys, we need as many eyeballs on the Inter game as possible. In Italian we say gufare, like an owl. You know how an owl kind of sees everything, you know? That's what we gotta do. We gotta watch every little thing they do and say, and basically jinx them. We got to do that. All efforts now on Inter. Or not, or be like me, which I just don't want to watch Inter at all. I don't want to know anything about it. I'll look at the score when the game is over, and if they win, then it's what I expect. And if they lose or drop more points, then even better, no? But very little expectations. I wonder if it's going to be like Juve Napoli 2023 when they come back to Naples. I don't know what this one is about. In my opinion, this was the hardest match of the four that were left. Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I think so. I think so. But on the other hand, also, Lecce had a lot of pressure, right? And I think in the other games, like the ones against Cagliari and everything, maybe they will be safe already. And I hope that on the one hand, that means that they will think about, their vacations to Ibiza and Formentera, the other players. On the other hand, they're going to be playing without any stress, without any pressure, and so they can play, a bit maybe more free and smooth compared to, for example, Lecce today that also had a lot of pressure because they're trying to save their club from going down. Uh, the miracle is on. Free kick was different class. Hats off to Oliveira who filled in for that center back slot, says Dom. GOC. Dom, great seeing you, brother. What a win off of pure grinta. We suffered and we only got 2 shots on target versus a horrific defending side, but all that matters is those 3 points. Vincenzo says another tough battle, one on the road to Paradiso. I predicted we would challenge for the Scudetto, says Napoli Nation TV. I was absolutely confident with Conte, our signings, and no European play. But to actually go on and win it, Napoli Nation TV, man, that's a different story. That's a different story. Um, yeah, Oliveira was solid. I think so. I think so. Oliveira was solid. So yeah, I think it's worth actually going into the player ratings because look, I can't give super high ratings today. We were up against Lecce. Okay, let's be very clear about that. If Lecce had a bit more quality, they would have made our life a lot more difficult. But having said that, I do want to flag that our defenders, Oliveira, Rachmani, and Di Lorenzo, were solid. They were not just defending, but they were getting into the midfield when needed. They were closing down everything. Rachmani, super solid against Kristovic. And I thought Lobotka was our best midfielder, and he was winning his battles, getting stuck in, and a little bit maybe too much that cost him an injury, which I really hope is nothing serious. But Gilmore came in, and also he was quite good, kept it nice and clean, let the ball do its thing, and I thought those two were the best midfielders today, much more than McTominay or Anguissa. For example, McTominay today a bit sloppy at times with some of his passing. As I said, a different position, no, compared to when we play a 4-3-3. You know, a lot deeper, a lot more like his Manchester United past, you know, where coaches were telling him to sit deeper. Oh, look, a big Scottish man, go sit deep in front of the defense and tackle everybody. Yeah, fine, okay. If you're in the 1980s, but you know, nowadays we should be a bit more cute and clever with how we decide what role a player should have. And it's clear that McTominay, even though he's got this huge physical advantage, he's not a defensive player. He's someone that actually has a really good attacking brain, and he should play a lot closer to the goal. But with this formation, he has to drop deeper, and so you know his score kind of reflects that. Kind of reflects that. But yeah, everybody I think agrees that the defense was solid today, and at least the Cagliari game is at home. Yeah, because oof, Cagliari away, guys. I made a video a few years ago of the rivalry that we have with Cagliari, um, and yeah, I think that would have been a super tough game to go and play away from home against Cagliari because the atmosphere there would have been electric. Uh, which is oh that rivalry is always funny to me because it's very one-sided. Like it's Cagliari that have this rivalry with us, and we don't really care. Um, but they would have cared a lot on that day, and they would have made our life very difficult. But luckily, it's in Naples. It's in Naples, and Napoli Nation TV says we would not win in Cagliari, and yeah, I would tend to agree with that. That if it would be the last game of the season and you're playing away at Cagliari and you're trying to win the title, rest assured those guys would not make it easy. Rest assured. But yeah, we play away at Parma, and they're just about safe. And Parma's a chill team, you know? Like we don't have any beef with them. We're bros. We both like to eat parmigiana, you know, like it should be like a chill game, okay? It should be, but it won't be. But it should like in my mind, I don't see it as a bogey place to go and play. But I mean, some of you guys do think that, you know, Parma away match will be tough. I mean, look, they're all tough. They're all tough, but I would much rather play Parma away than Cagliari away. Would much rather do that. So yeah, I don't like this formation, says Danny. Too little offensive. Is Rafa Marin that bad he can't start? I love this question because um, it really, I think, highlights that this guy has no future at the club. Because look, Conte was super clear a few weeks ago. He says, I have four defenders. Okay? Buongiorno, he's injured. Juan Jesus, he's injured. If my math is not mistaken, 4 minus 2 is 2. I have two defenders, Rachmani and Rafa Marin. So definitely Rafa Marin plays. That was Conte in the press conference, okay? He made it seem like it was super obvious that Rafa Marin would play because it was mathematical. The fact that now we have that same situation, but he decided, you know what? I'm gonna go with three defenders at the back, and two of them are gonna be Oliveira and Di Lorenzo, means that this little equation or formula that he made actually is not that valid, and it was correct that the journalist actually had asked him about it, and it was a valid question to ask whether he would actually play Rafa Marin. At the time he did against Monza, But against Lecce, he didn't feel like it, and he went back to a three man defense. So for me, that means that he's completely he's completely said this guy's not for me. I can't play the last three games with this guy. Um, so so yeah, I think it's unfortunate because if you look at the stats, we have not conceded any goals with Rafa Marin on the field, and I don't think he's a bad player. So I feel sad for Rafa Marin, but at the same time, as long as we win games, then I trust Conte. And Vincenzo is totally right. Oliveira does play center back for Uruguay and has a lot more experience. Less risky in these high pressure games to use him instead of Marin, especially since we need Spina's creativity as well with Neres out. And I think that's the key. That's the key. Also, but we also have to be very very clear that playing Oliveira in a three center back defense is actually not exactly like what he does with Uruguay. Because with Uruguay, he was playing as a center back with a four-man defense. So a lot more cover, a bit different. And, so credit to Oliveira for making it also work when he's playing with three at the back. Who does Inter have left and what is home and away breakdown? So, look, Inter now play against Verona in like 1 minute they start, okay? Then they have next week away to Torino, then they have home to Lazio, and the last game of the season is away to Como. So very short trip down to Como Lake for Inter. It's a beautiful scenery to lose a Scudetto, like with the mountains and the lake. It's great. And now you guys will say that I jinxed us. Um, but look, the Inter Lazio game is not going to be easy for Inter. The one before the last game of the season. That one's really not going to be easy because look, Lazio they are fighting to get into that Champions League spot. They are seventh, but only 2 points behind fourth place Juventus. So that's going to be an interesting one. And then there's also Lazio Juventus the week before the Inter game. So for that game, Lazio Juve, we have to hope that Lazio win or at least draw so that they still feel like there's a chance for them to go into the Champions League. And tomorrow is Bologna Juventus, and we should try to make sure that they draw so that it pulls Lazio even closer to that spot. I mean, everything is just so intertwined right now. But yeah, that race for the Champions League spot is absolutely crazy, man. And like Roma have had, by the way, a super tough run into this. Look at Roma's last 8 games: Juventus, Lazio, Verona, fine, but then Inter, Fiorentina, Atalanta, Milan, and Torino. Like Roma, literally, like their last games of the season are all super tough, and yet they also are right there, same points as Lazio, and they could go through. So it's a crazy run for that fourth spot. Um, by the way, I will probably be in Naples for the last game of the season. So let's uh let's organize. Let's organize if everybody's there. Maybe like the morning of the Scudetto game. Then I don't know, we all meet up somewhere or something. If you guys are in Naples, if anybody's in Naples, like get in touch and we'll try to organize. And I'll try to use a little bit this platform, a little bit this community as like a way to organize things. I'll be like, yo, let's meet at this place, this time, and yeah, because otherwise it's hard, no? If everybody's doing individual things, so I'll just spread the message. Other people can organize and can choose, and then I'll just help spread the word about where the meetup's happening. Vincenzo will be there as well. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I live like 14 hours from Naples. Bro, it's that time of the year to buy a private jet and get get yourself to Naples, man. You got to do it. No, but yeah, guys, if if you are, then it would be good to see you. Um, Lukaku goal should have stood, then the free kick, then McTominay shouldn't have touched the goalie because Oliveira had a goal. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It should have been 2-0. Hey Dom, in which part of Napoli are you from? I'm from Soccavo. So it's like next to Fuorigrotta, which is where the stadium is, the neighborhood next to it. Even though I don't live there for however many years. But I go back very often, very, very often, like 5 or 6 times a year at least. I so wish I could go enjoy Fratema. McFratema. Scott McTominay. McFratema. You guys saw that, no? Everybody knows Scott McFratema by now. Man, man. That was uh that was a good time 2 years ago, no? I remember a lot of you guys were there celebrating that final game of the season. It was very good to see everybody. So hope we can do that again. On the one hand, guys, I don't want Inter to drop points until the end. Like I want to reach the I want to reach the final game of the season and win it on the final game of the season. I think it's going to cause all sorts of like 20,000 people will die from heart attack by the point we reach that stage. But once we do win, I think it will be a lot sweeter. Like I want to win it with two teams going, head to head, everybody winning. Like I don't want to win because Inter are dropping points at this point. I want to see our team like do it on our own a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. I also want to like watch it happen when I'm there because hopefully I get tickets for the stadium and hopefully I could watch it there. Um so yeah. Insigne is definitely happy for us. Yes, he might regret leaving, but as long as he's happy for us, that should be great. Yeah, it's crazy, no? That Insigne couldn't win the Scudetto for us. Him, Mertens, Koulibaly, Amsic. I mean, guys, those teams were a lot stronger than this one. A lot stronger than this one. So yeah, but it's just about like, are you at the right place at the right time? And these guys, you could argue that on a selfish point of view, they were there at the wrong time. But from a Napoli point of view, they were there at the right time to build the foundations for now, you know, um, because it's a process, and you have to build. So yeah, um, your heart is always in Napoli, Dom. 100%, man. 100%. Uh, there's now a sandwich shop in Napoli called McFratema. Of course there is, man. Of course. Man, if there is anything that is true about Neapolitans is that if there is a way to make money, we will do it. Okay? And we will ride whatever trend We need to ride to go make that dollar, and obviously someone will have opened up a sandwich place called McFratema. Penalty for Inter. Okay. Okay. It's cool, guys. It's cool. It's cool. I want Inter. I want Inter to win. I want them to win. As I said, I want to reach the last game of the season and win it on the last game of the season. I don't want to. I don't want to win it early. That's me trying to cope with the situation. I'm being my own therapist here. Inter will. Vincenzo says Inter will win today, but I believe they will drop points versus Torino or Lazio. Yeah, I have a feeling as well that Inter's gonna win today. Inter in 1994, 1995 is the lowest Serie A season win with 82 points. Napoli currently have 77. Interesting stat, man. Interesting stat. I mean, if we win with if we get 7 points, obviously we go to 84, and it would be, you know, decent, but I think it's because the first half of the season was super strong. Was super strong. Um, the second half of the season a bit less, and the average points that we were. I don't know how many points we ended up in the first 19 games, but I think then if you take a look at the next 19, it's not exactly been Scudetto winning form, let's say. Um, but hey, it doesn't matter at this point. It does not matter. Napoli talk, is it true that if it is tied, there is one last game between the two to decide? Yeah, it's true. It's true. So even if we lose one game and win two, it's still fine. We get a second chance. But in whoever has, it would be in the stadium of whoever has the best goal difference. Because we both tied 1-1 with each other. So then it goes to goal difference. So yeah. Inter winning 1-0. Guys, relax. It's fine. It's fine. Guys, relax. It's going to be fine. You have to think that Inter's going to win their next 4 games. You have to live life like this. That they already have the next 12 points in the bag. So you just have to think about yourself. You just have to think about getting 7 points. Doesn't matter what they do. Think about what you have to do, or what Napoli players have to do. Um, but yeah, apparently it's a dodgy handball to give Inter a penalty. It's okay, guys. It's okay. It's okay. It's true, guys, that the smaller teams this year are much stronger. I mean, when you play against a team like Como, you realize like, oh, okay, this is a strong team actually. They play football and they've won many of their last few games. I can see that they have at least 5 wins in a row. Como, um, Parma's a good team. Udinese's a good team. I think the only one that was quite bad this year was Monza, and even they um, gave us a few problems. But no one really like parks the bus, anymore. You don't get those like Frosinones or the likes of Kievos anymore. I don't want the playoff. Let's clinch it versus Cagliari and Napoli. We can all go crazy together. It's exactly, bro. Exactly what I'm talking about. That's what we got to do. That's what we got to do, man. We got to do that. Guys. let's go back to a little bit to Lecce Napoli. Okay, I just wanna go back and even for myself see a little bit these stats and it's it's super interesting if you actually take a look at how the game was because yeah, it seems like Napoli, have a bit more on their side. And then if I scroll down a little bit, you see that Lecce had more shots and more corners. Um, Passing accuracy for Lecce was quite high, 85%, and possession was quite high for Lecce as well, 44%. Usually, against a team like Lecce, you'd expect Napoli to have at least 60, 65. But we gave Lecce a lot of the ball, a lot. And, with them having 85% pass accuracy, what that tells me is that we made it too easy for them to pass the ball around. We weren't pressing them enough, putting pressure on them to make mistakes, closing the passing lanes. We just let them do what they want. But they didn't have the quality to hurt us. Out of 9 shots, one on target, and yeah, they just didn't have that final something. But yeah, this was not a bad team, and it's not a team that was closing themselves in defense. They actually went and tried to win the game, especially in the second half, and that's exactly what Vincenzo's comment refers to. I asked AI about a playoff game and it said it would be at a neutral ground. I guess it was wrong. Yeah, AI is wrong. Right? Pretty sure AI is wrong there. Anyways, guys, I have one eye on the Inter game as well. Well, not live because I don't want to use up my internet bandwidth because I'm streaming right now, but I have an eye on the commentary of the game. Seems like they'll dominate this game, Inter. But yeah. Anyways, let's see if Conte said anything. Let's go to Conte's press conference, guys. Let's see what he says. He still hasn't said anything, but in the meantime, let's see some news and what the news says about Conte. So apparently, that zone is reporting that Conte was super mad at the team. So it says Antonio Conte, when the game finished, even though the team conquered all 3 points, was not very serene. The Azzurri coach wasn't at all happy with the performance of the team, and he let the team know this at the end of those 90 minutes. To reveal that is Valon Berami, ex-Napoli player, who's a commentator at that zone. He says at the end of the game, Conte was super mad. He wanted the whole team to listen to what he had to say. And yeah, he just wants to make sure that the team understands whatever message that he wanted to share with them, and that they don't relax. Okay, Conte's press conference has officially started. So let me see if I can listen. Well, no, if I listen to it, it will be super, super hard for me to translate at the same time. I'm not that good at listening and speaking at the same time, but I've mastered I've mastered the reading in one language and immediately translating it in another. That's a hard skill to master, by the way. But audio, that's tough. That's tough. Um, let's see. Raspadori spoke and Rahmani spoke. So let's see what Raspadori had to say. Um, they ask him, how close is the Scudetto? And he says, we are building this one by one piece at a time. The improvements have been constant. We still have to do a small step, one game at a time. They ask him if this goal is as valuable as the one he did against Juventus. And he says, these are some goals that are very important. What's important is the work that you do behind the scenes. Today, we had some difficulties and we didn't do everything that we prepared for, but the important thing was to win. They asked him, how many times have you practiced that free kick? And he said, this week, never, but in the past, we did it a few times. Obviously, training is at the heart of everything. Rachmani at DAZN says, the game was tough. We knew the pressure that was there. The important thing was to win. The team is working super hard, and um, yeah, we just defend as a group. Starts with the strikers, and we're happy with the result. That was Rachmani. Okay, let's see Conte's press conference. I think we can at least start a little bit. It's still ongoing, but I can give you kind of live the things that he is saying. So, and by the way, don't forget to smash that like button, guys. Don't forget that. So they ask him, was this the toughest game out of the four that were remaining? And he says, look, we are. I knew he was gonna say this because he always says this. He's saying, look, we are making something incredible seem normal, but it's not. Neres has been injured for a long time, basically since January onwards. Buongiorno, likewise. Juan Jesus, who had substituted him in a great manner, also has had a problem. Today we put Oliveira as a center back, and yeah, and Raspadori against Torino had to play, but he woke up with 38.5 degrees of fever against Torino. My players are soldiers. In the emergency, we never mm, like we never collapsed. Let's say. I hope that Lobotka it's not serious. Um, I don't want to get to the bottom of the barrel, but anyways calm in case I have to get there because I know I can count on everybody. Against Bologna, Scuffet had to play and he gave a good response. Mazzocchi as well against Empoli. Every time I've had to pick players to replace, let's say, the starters, they always repaid me. So I'm very, very calm and feet on the ground. The only people who write history are the ones that win. The other ones, they read it. If we were not to win in 2 or 3 years, nobody will ever remember the journey that we did. That's true, man. That's true, but also not true. Um, I think people remember the team of Sarri and everything. Like you can still finish second, and people will remember. And I think even if this team does somehow finish second, I think it will be remembered not as a good team, not as a great team, but a team that really fought and really gave it 100%. Like when we talk about giving it 100%, it's a term that's used so lightly, but very few people in their lives actually put in 100% effort in what they do. Um, like very few people. But this group of players, I think they have done it. Like I don't think they can do more. this is a team that finished 10th last year, and yeah, um, yeah. Like I think Inter, for example, they're not even close to their 100%. They're at maybe 90, something like this. Maybe in the Champions League, they're much closer to that 100% level, but in the league, they haven't been. Um, yeah, man, just very few people are able to do this for like a year. The consistency, the motivation, the getting past all the hurdles. Yeah, and it'd be nice if the team gets rewarded for it, because it's good as well to reward effort. And I think this team has put in a lot of effort. It'll be remembered, but not like a first place finish. Napoli fans remember second, but most neutrals don't. Yeah, yeah, I think so. Could there be crazy celebrations with fans gathered when they come back to Naples tonight? I don't think so. I don't think that there will be. Um, I think there will possibly be after Parma with one game to go. I don't think now. I don't think now. It would have been if it was like a big game, right? Like if it was like a 1-0 against I don't know, like an Atalanta or whatever, yeah. By the way, guys, Atalanta, they fell off, huh? They are now, I know they've got a game still in hand on us, but we've put 12 points gap between us and them. And remember that until February or something like this, January, it was, oh, is Atalanta the favorites, this and that. And it just goes to show that doing something consistently for 38 games is not the same as doing it for 19 or 20. And that extra step, it's so underestimated. So underestimated, guys. Then they say, um, let's go back to Conte. He says, this was an important victory, but not the most important one. For example, I think the Atalanta victory was the most important, um, because not only did it, I think it killed Atalanta that game, and I think it really made us believe, okay, yeah, this team's gonna fight to the end for the Scudetto. I think that game was key, and then we had a slump, but it was all part of building at least some kind of credibility that we could potentially fight, and then we could at least hold on to that when we went through a slump. We could at least hold on to that thought of, but this team could potentially, and it ended up being that way. Anyways, Conte says it wasn't the most important team. I feared this game a lot. This is a difficult place to come and play. Lecce is fighting for their survival, and even more so with the tragedy that they had to go through. The atmosphere today was very particular. Something really bad happened to them, and I knew him personally as well as his dad. It was not easy, and Lecce had to play against Atalanta after very few days, and they managed to draw there. So there was all the ingredients for this to have been a super tough game. In the second half, we administrated the game a little bit, but in the end, the most important thing is the 3 points, says Antonio Conte. He continues to say, there's a lot of work behind these 77 points. I can guarantee this to you. We have come up against top clubs, and let's not forget that we drew 0-0 against Modena in the Coppa Italia. Then we lost 3-0 at home to Verona. That's how we started the season. So let's not forget from where we started and understand where we arrived. It would be incredibly beautiful to complete everything, but experience tells me that it's not yet done. And if you lose, this will sting a lot, but for a very long time. But if you win, you will keep this inside for forever. They say there's very little now until the end. Um, Reflecting back on the Napoli of Careca and Maradona, the Napoli of Kvara and Osimhen, looking at this Napoli, there's not one single player that stands out as much or a group of players, but it's more the Napoli of Conte. How much of Conte is in this Napoli side? And he says, "Look, regarding this question, I can't answer it. The experience in the past few years has taught me that losing teaches you and scars you a lot more. When you win, everything is fine, but when you lose, you take that with you for a very long time. Today we are up there, but there's 3 games to go, and so we still haven't completed anything. I would like this question um, to come up maybe in the future when um, when maybe the things are all said and done." Then they ask him, "Can Lecce survive?" And he says, "I hope so. They have a good fan base. There's enthusiasm within the team, and yeah." He hopes that Lecce can stay up. Obviously, he's from Lecce, Antonio Conte. And that's it. That's his press conference, guys. Yeah. Napolitan TV says, "I agree. Ultras will be calm after this, but if it goes down to the final match, they will come out in force against Parma. That's my view as well." Payman says, "I cannot take the pressure anymore. Inter up. This is so annoying." Payman, man, doesn't matter what Inter does. Inter can do what they want, man. 12 points in these 3 games plus the one that they're doing, doesn't matter. We just got to get our 7, okay? We just gotta get our 7 points. We don't have to worry about Inter. It's totally in our hands. Let's not worry about it. Okay? Yeah. Not losing at home to Inter was huge. Billing. Yeah. Probably probably that was the most important goal of the season, right? Um, but that will happen. We will review that at the end of the season. We will do the Napoli Talk Awards ceremony, which I did 3 years ago, and it was a really fun video when we finished third. And then I didn't do it for the Scudetto season, and obviously I didn't do it last season because there wasn't many awards to give except who was the worst player and who acted more like a window licker. Um, but this year we have some nice awards to potentially give out, regardless of where we finish in the season. And the award of most important goal, Billing is a huge candidate. Um, and yeah, that will be a fun video to do. It will be alive. It will be it will be alive. I will have polls. You guys can vote. There will be disco lights. There's gonna be stuff. There's gonna be stuff. Balloons. I'll blow some balloons for you guys. Whatever you want. It's gonna be a party video, and hopefully with the context of us getting these 7 points. Otherwise, maybe no balloons if we don't get these 7 points. Um, but yeah, guys, that's a little bit it from my side. I have a very interesting Saturday night ahead of me, where I have to do some PowerPoint slides for work. So yeah, woohoo! Gotta love that consulting life. But yeah, I gotta go. I gotta do some work. So Um, yeah, that's it. And you guys might notice that like I'm not like over the moon. I'm not because we got 3 games, okay? Like we just gotta I want to make sure that everybody's just calm and chill. Like I don't want to go out and be like, yeah, we got this because we don't. We don't. Mo says I have to do PowerPoint slides as well. That actually makes me feel better, man. Thank you. Thank you, man. Tough, tough week. Tough week, this one. Anyways, will you be going to the parade this year? Says X Trigger. If by parade you mean last game of the season, yes, I will be there. I will be there. Lewis Ferguson might come from Bologna and we'll have 3 Scottish guys. Yeah. Yeah, man. We will be kind of the capital of Scotland at that point, you know? We will have the best 3 Scottish, well, not the best three, because maybe Robertson is part of those top 3, but the best 3 out of 4 Scottish players will be in Naples, if that's true. Um, it would be good to have a few friendlies there, maybe, huh? In the summer. Maybe against Celtic, Rangers, maybe both. That would be nice to do. Anyways, guys, I gotta head. I gotta have dinner as well. I'll catch you for the next game at home. And as always, guys, Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.